This Errol Spence fight, I'm going to say a few points and things that have been, people have been paying so much attention to this age thing, right? And I can understand, but people get obsessed. The generation today, we are obsessed with, when someone's 30, it's like they're a granddad, they're old in boxing, as far as a lot of people are concerned today. Make a big deal out of age. Sometimes I think people make a bigger deal out of age than maybe they need to. So in this case, it's Pacquiao, 42 years of age, going up against welterweight champion Errol Spence Jr., who I believe is, what's Errol Spence? Is he 30 or is he just turned 30? Somewhere around that, right? Pacquiao's 10 years plus older than him. Now, let's just talk facts. Did Pacquiao need to fight Errol Spence to prove anything? No, he didn't. Pacquiao's an 8-weight, he's an 8-weight, I get mixed up, world champion. He's won championships in 8 different weight divisions. He's gone up the weights. He's beaten legends, in the sport. He's had some losses, we know that, but he's a champion. Every time he's lost, he's come back and he's regained titles, and he's just got better and better, and he's never made excuses. He's never complained. He's never been a bad loser. This is very, very rare in a fighter, if I'm being honest. A lot of fighters, they make excuses when they lose. They blame their managers, they blame their trainers. It's always an injury. It's down to weight, it's down to this, it's down to that. Obviously, some of these things can be genuine, but they can be genuine reasons. But nonetheless, they make excuses, well, they can't take it. Manny's never done that. He's always said, the best man's won, even when he's been robbed and he's had terrible decisions. I respect the judges, comes back, trains harder. Either he beats the people that have beaten him, or he continues on and he beats other great champions. So just the fact that Pacquiao took this fight for me speaks volumes of the kind of fighter and man that he is. Because why go in with a dangerous young lion when you don't need to put yourself in that type of risk where there is a risk. I'm a fan. I'm not going to be biased. I'm going to be honest. There is a risk that he could get knocked out. There is a risk that he could get beaten up badly by Errol Spence. There's always that risk. Doesn't matter how good you are. We've seen this in history. This is the reality of life and getting older. And when you think about it, Pacquiao's had 70 fights. He's had 70 fights. I think it might be 71. I think this is going to be the 71st. I know it's around 70, 71. Errol Spence has had 27 fights. Pacquiao's had double the fights that Errol Spence has had. He's been reigning as a champion for donkey's years now. Like I said in my last video, all the people that Pacquiao's beaten, these legends, they're all in retirement. Some of them are coming out now and they're doing exhibitions, right? Which is their own choice. They're great champions, but most of them are retired. They're not slim, they're not lightweights anymore. They've put on weight and they're happily married, they've got families, and good luck to them. Pacquiao's still going. He's still in great shape. Now people are saying, Pacquiao, doesn't look as good as he used to. He's a bit slower now, he's this, he's that. And look, at the end of the day, what do you expect? Do you expect Pacquiao to look the way he did when he was 30? When he was 31, when he was in his 20s? He's not going to look like that, guys. It's reality. No, he's getting older. But what I will say is, trust me, don't underestimate Manny Pacquiao, never do it. And that's why, I've been honest in this fight. This is a tough challenge for Pacquiao, but it's a tough challenge to Spence. I still back Manny Pacquiao to win this fight. I believe the fact that he's a happy fighter, he loves fighting. I'm a huge believer in a happy fighter is a dangerous fighter. He's doing it because he wants to do it. He has the desire, he has the passion, he has the faith. I think that's important. I think faith's important. And he works his arse off, like he says. He's one of the hardest workers I've seen in boxing. There's only really 2 fighters in this generation. I obviously haven't seen everyone that I think they train the hardest, and I honestly think it's Mayweather and Pacquiao. I don't think you can get a fighter, maybe Canelo, but Canelo's just kind of, he's kind of in the spotlight now. But going back over the years, Pacquiao says it himself. He's known to train up to 36 rounds. It's unheard of. 25, 36 rounds, and he trains like a machine, and he works extremely hard, even at every level that he's been at. He still trains, with that hunger that he had when he was in poverty and he was broke, and he was a nobody in the sense of, you know, didn't have the star power that he's got now. He wasn't an icon. He trained so hard, and I think that's what makes him dangerous in this fight. The fact that he wants it. A lot of people are doubting him, saying he's too old. Errol Spence is too big. He's going to be too strong. But listen, man, I've heard all this before, man. I've heard this every fight that he has, and 90% of the time, if not more, Pacquiao always wins. So, you know, if Errol Spence beats Pacquiao, I'm not going to be surprised, because there's always that possibility. And, you know, if you look at things realistically, really Errol Spence should really beat Pacquiao now, being that Pacquiao is right at the end of his career, that he's been reigning for so long. He's been in loads of tough fights. He's fought the best of the best. He's beaten the best of the best. He's 42 years of age. He's naturally the smaller man. Errol Spence is 10 years his senior. Spence is still coming to his peak. He's in his prime. But at the same time, can't underestimate him. And I wouldn't be surprised if Pacquiao goes in there and does the business like he did against Furman. Really, Furman should have beaten him. On paper, looking at the fight realistically, undefeated. Furman was 30 years of age. He's a strong puncher. He's physically bigger than Pacquiao. But look what happened. You know, people got the shock of their life. I wasn't shocked, because I said to a lot of people going into that fight, don't write Pacquiao off. And I picked Pacquiao to win that fight. So I'm picking Pacquiao to beat Errol Spence. For some people, that's a bold claim to make. I'm willing to be wrong. So I'm not ignorant. I'm not, you know, deluded in my opinion. And I also, you know, going into this fight, I know that Spence can beat Pacquiao. But listen, for me, Pacquiao's got nothing to lose. If he loses, then he loses. But he still goes down, in my opinion, as I think he's the greatest fighter that ever lived. That's my opinion. Some people won't agree with me on that. I base that on my personal preference. I love his style. I love the way he fights. I love it. I think he's brilliant. I think he's fearless, the heart. I like the way that when he loses, he comes back. I like the way he conducts himself inside and outside the ring. Doesn't trash talk, doesn't disrespect people. He's a humble man. He's a man of God. He trains hard. He's fantastic in the ring. You never get a dull fight with Pacquiao, and he's got a unique style. And he's a gentleman outside the ring, but he's a killer. Pacquiao's a killer inside the ring, man. You know, the kindness and being a good human being, which I love, and that's the values that I was brought up with. Be a decent person, treat people well, and how you want to be treated. But when he gets in the ring, he's vicious and he's relentless. So seeing the way that Pacquiao has been training, I think he's looking in great shape. I don't see a massive decline like people are saying. Obviously, he's slowed down a little bit. You'd expect that, but I still think he has the ability. He's got the energy. He's got the experience. He's got the hunger and desire that can be good enough to beat even someone as good as Errol Spence.